Thank you all for coming. This is great to see people here supporting whatever's going to happen in this short legislative session, trying to preserve medical marijuana rights. Excuse me. I was in a very serious motorcycle crash in 1986, and that's when my voice is crippled and a little bit difficult to hear sometimes. But I was arrested. I used medical marijuana for about 10 years before there was such a thing legally. And I thought it was, of course, much better than the narcotics that I was prescribed. The doctors told me I would never walk again, and they gave me all these drugs that kept me locked into bed. So it was kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. But I used cannabis to reduce the amount of narcotics, and it also provided neurological healing, which I didn't understand. The research had not been done at that time, but I knew that it helped me. So I used medical marijuana, covertly for many years. And then in 1996, I was arrested, and I went to trial in Seattle for the first medical necessity defense. And we had 2 years of a very difficult legal battle, very costly legal fees, and 2 arrests. It was quite an ordeal. Throughout all this, I have found a lot of support with the people, and it was growing. And as a matter of fact, at the end of this, the authorities thought that, they told me they would give me a year of probation if I would just sign the paper. And so I did. I was tired, exhausted. They threatened to steal my house, which is actually illegal to use as a punitive measure. But so I caved in, and I accepted a 1-year probation sentence. However, the judge changed his mind, and they tried to put me in jail. They tried to give me 3 months in jail for growing plants in my house for my own personal use. Now, I had gotten a lot of public support. I was with the Green Cross and Joanna at that time, and the HempFest volunteer list helped me a great deal, as well as a lot of other private citizens. In about 2 or 3 weeks, we mounted a large media and public outcry campaign to the prosecutor, to the judge, and in fact, we flooded the prosecutor's office with phone calls and emails and faxes, and the judge. And for the first time that anyone knows of, and the only time actually since that anyone I know has heard of, the prosecutor and the judge changed their mind. They changed my sentence. They dropped the sentence due to public outcry, and that's unheard of in the legal system. So this is a lesson to all of us that we do have a voice, we do have free will. We need to get up and stand up and fight for our rights. It is possible to make change in the system. I was called to testify for a lot of other patients in trials since then. I became the expert witness on the use and cultivation of cannabis in this state in dozens of cases. And so I know from first-hand experience that the legal system is not as rote, not as set in stone as the prosecutors would like to believe. They think, if you possess marijuana, you're guilty and you're going to jail. But if you stand up for your rights, if you've got a righteous case, medical marijuana patients have tremendous support in the public eye. Up to 85% all across the country of Americans support medical marijuana. So the jury pool is actually in our favor. If you support medical rights and you have a righteous case, the people will not convict you. I was not convicted by a jury. That was years ago. That was before the medical marijuana laws that we have today. My doctor filed the Medical Use of Marijuana Act of 1998. I founded the Lifeline Cannabis Collective in 1999, and I have been helping this group of severely ill people to maintain adequate, reasonably priced supply of the medicine they need for all this time. I've done a lot of work with the legislature here. I've testified in a lot of hearings, and in fact, the law in 2011, which was gutted by Governor Gregoire, had one section, Section 403, which was left intact, the collective law. And the Lifeline Collective was actually the model for this law, with Senator Colwell's drafting the bill. I worked a great deal with her. She is a great champion of our cause, and I urge all of you to support her, as well as this Rick Smith bill. That's very exciting. We do have a possibility that we can preserve patient rights, but, you know, the government is here to regulate, and they want tax money, they want control. So there is a tug of war going on. There are some legislators who wish this whole subject would go away. There's some who would like to make it go away. There's some who are on the fence. So we need to reach those, of course, that are on the fence and try to show them that marijuana patients need their own right to grow. This is what I stand for most. The patient's right to grow must be maintained. There is a cottage industry that has sprung up around medical marijuana, and we hope that the licensing system that is being promoted by some legislators like Senator Colwell's and then the Rick Smith bill, we would hope that we can preserve that industry. However, you know, the big money interests in the 502 recreational use are not happy about people having the right to produce their own medicine. So there is a fight going on over the industry. However, what I really want to maintain is the patient's right to grow. We all know that the high THC marijuana that is coveted by non-medical users is not necessarily the best thing for real marijuana patients. A lot of people understand that the high CBD strains are more medically effective for certain conditions. However, you can't even get these strains on any regular market because they're really not desirable for recreational use, and these have been developed in private, in secret, by medical growers who specialize in this. The patients need the right to grow because they can't afford the medicine either. The high tax rates that are being applied to the recreational use are just not feasible for people who are on very limited incomes, and also who use much more. You know, the Liquor Control Board has estimated that the average cannabis user uses about 2.3 joints per week. I myself probably use at least 10 times that much. So there's huge lack of knowledge. There's huge gaps in the information that the legislature is working on here to make these rules. And we need to contact them. We need to contact the legislature and voice our opinions and give them the facts. I really appreciate that people are coming together around this cause. Here we have a short legislative session. There's only 60 days, and it is possible that something will get rushed through, which we don't really want in some way or another. It's also possible that there will be so much conflict that nothing will get passed in this legislative session. So this is very important that we stand up now and make our opinions heard. I want to tell you one more thing. That I support the patient's right to grow for the sick patients. The industry may prevail and it may not. However, patients must have the right to grow their own medicine. central manager of Lifeline was a woman named Elena, and she helped me run the office for the Collective Network. Elena passed away 2 weeks ago of cancer, and she did not have an adequate supply of cannabis because the police had raided her garden and saying that she had too much. This woman is dying from cancer for several years, and we had a garden in her home, and it was taken away by police. And she suffered for a long time. I've been trying to give her, Simpson oil, a type of highly concentrated cannabinoids which fight cancer. Do you understand? The government does not want us to know that cannabis fights cancer. Not just
Cures cancer. Cures cancer.
It's possible. There is research out there. There is a lot of research out there. I have several websites. One of them is the cannabismedicaldictionary.com. At Cannabis Medical Dictionary, you begin to see that there is a lot of scientific evidence that indicates that cannabinoids disrupt tumor development. Okay, there is the whole Rick Simpson story about, there are many anecdotal reports that people say that cannabis cured my cancer. High doses, you're talking about pounds of cannabis. It takes like an ounce to produce a gram or two. An ounce of marijuana to produce a gram or two, and you could be using a gram a day. So the amounts of medicine needed to fight cancer and for other severe illnesses are far outside of the limits that the officials understand. Okay? We may have a problem with the plant limit. The recommendations of the Liquor Control Board at this point would cut us back to 3 to 6 plants per patient. Currently it's 15. 15 is not enough. So we've got a real steep uphill battle. And I don't know if any of you were here at the town hall meeting and on the solstice, where we had a lot of speakers, including Senator Cole Wells, who spoke about preserving patient rights. But at that speech I gave there, I ended by saying, that who is in charge here is really not the legislators, it is the jury pool. And the legislators understand that no matter what the law says, that the jury pool will determine what is legal or not. If we have a righteous medical case, the jury is not going to convict. The laws will change to suit reality. However, it's a very expensive, difficult legal battle. To fight this fight in court is very difficult and very expensive. However, the people are behind us, and we must voice our opinion. We need to talk to people. We need to get other people on our side to stand up and make phone calls and send emails and faxes to get this issue up alive in the public, in the media. So anything you can do to voice your concerns for preserving patient rights, now is the time to do it. Get all the patients and friends you can to help now. And we do want to stand united. We may have different opinions, but in general, we're all on the same side. There are people that are living and dying without the medicine that they need. Okay? This is my real concern. People who need the medicine for survival, not just to make a living or whatever, but really for survival. This is not just a political campaign. This is a matter of life and death. And we need to get that message out there. Patient rights must prevail, and we cannot let big money, corporate interests, greed, take away our human rights, our right to life. I'd like to pass out a little flyer about Elena, and I'd like you all to go to my websites, especially cannabismedicaldictionary.com. We need to form a coalition of people who will stand up and make some noise right now. Thank you all for coming.